Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Jasline Shaw. Today I'm here to film a video with you guys that's totally different from all the videos that I have done, but I'm very excited to actually film this video for you guys. This is about my current favorite book of the month, pretty much of the year that I have read and completed just about a week ago, and I really do love this book because it's provided me a lot of knowledge and also just spiritual growth, and just also helped me, you know, get closer to God, and also just trying to figure out what is my purpose in life. And I've been reading it for a whole month now, and so I was just very encouraged by my girlfriend, who actually referred this to me to, you know, talk about my book, because a lot of my girlfriends, I have them reading books or, you know, writing and getting into those things that I love to do. So by them seeing me do that has helped them and wanted them to get to know more about the books that I read. And so I hope that, you know, this video is encouraging to you guys who love to read and also write, because I love to write as well. So I really hope you guys stay tuned and watch this video about finding your purpose, and also Seize the Day, which is by Joyce Meyer, who I'm such a big fan of. And also guys, if you are new, please subscribe down below to my YouTube channel. I make beauty, fashion, also Sunday devotional videos. I'm really starting to venture out right now. As you can see, this is a total different video compared to those three categories I mentioned, but I'm really starting to venture out and do more exciting videos for you guys, such as traveling videos that I plan to do, and also workout videos and all these different things that I'm about to start doing. So I'm kind of excited because, you know, I just want you to see the things that I do on the day-to-day basis and the things I love to do, and I hope you guys enjoy the video and just keep watching. Alright guys, so we're going to go ahead and dig in about this book that I'm so loving and that I'm so hyped about and so excited to talk to you guys about, which is called Seize the Day by Joyce Meyer. It's called Living on Purpose and Making Every Day Count. Guys, this book, let me tell you the background of this book and how I found this book, and not really knowing why I chose this book out of all the books that Joyce Meyer has. But I kid you not, I feel like God needed me to read this book and needed me to pretty much understand where I'm at right now in my life right now, which is trying to serve God and also be led by His purpose for my life, which is why I felt that God drawn me to this book. And so that's why I'm very excited and happy to talk about it with you guys, because I really do feel like this was what God was trying to lead me to, and just to pretty much focus on His purpose for my life and not so much of me doing things not according to His will. So what I want to talk about is this book. It's so amazing. Seize the Day, which is basically about living on purpose. And living on purpose, as I've talked about in like my videos about serving God, is just to be led by God and His will for your life. Not so much of doing things your own way, but also just submitting your life over to the Lord and serving God, and also just trying to be guided by God and His will, and pray to Him to figure out what is your purpose in life, such as the things that you want to do with your career, the things you want to do with your life, your education, just the things in general of what you plan to do with your life. And so in this book, Seize the Day, Joyce Meyer, she has 22 chapters in the book. And so each chapter basically breaks down different categories of, you know, living on purpose for your life and making every day count for your life. And so in chapter 1, I'm just going to read the chapter names, because maybe if you guys may seem that this is something interesting that you want to look into, I recommend it highly. So in chapter 1, it talks about man's free will. Chapter 2, God's will for your life. Chapter 3, living for eternity. Chapter 4, the reward of right choices. Chapter 5, where did all the time go? Chapter 6, ways to avoid wasting your time. Chapter 7, we only get one life. And chapter 8, determination. Chapter 9, Seize the Day. Chapter 10, scheduling and planning. Chapter 11, following through with your plan. Chapter 12, organization. Chapter 13, what are you living for? Chapter 14, being an on-purpose person. Chapter 15, activity and passivity. Chapter 16, be careful how you live. And chapter 17, what are you doing with what God has given you? Chapter 18, seeing the end from the beginning. Chapter 19, finding strength for the journey. And chapter 20, seize your thoughts. Chapter 21, 5 things to do on purpose, and chapter 22, take charge of your life. So those are the 22 chapters of this book. And y'all, when I found this book in Barnes & Noble, I kid you not, I was already discouraged about getting this book because, let alone, this book is about, I think, $25. I kid you not. And I was like, I really don't want to spend that much on a book. That's so much. And I'm like, I'm on a budget, so I really don't know if I want to spend that much on a book. I kid you not. I was like, you know what? This book is calling my name. It's talking about purpose. It's talking about making every day count on your life. I was like, I gotta get this book. So, guys, what do you know? I ended up grabbing this book and another book that's somewhere around here. And I ended up going to the cashier. And when I purchased this book, guys, I kid you not, I was already like, oh my gosh, I'm about to spend like $30, $50 up in here in Barnes & Noble on like literally 2 books. And I was like, I really don't want to spend that much on books, you know? And so the cashier was like, oh, this is a discounted book. And I kid you not, I think this book came out to be like $12, no more than $15. And I was like, are you kidding me? And I was like, wow, like I was so excited because, let alone, I was like, God, like I don't want to spend that much on this book. But I kid you not, I felt that that's what God was trying to get me, is to get this book, to read this book, and to gain the knowledge, and also just to be led, you know, through my purpose, and to really figure out what he was trying to tell me in this book. And I am very happy to have, you know, listened to my gut and my feeling and in my spirit to say, you know, that's the book for you. You need that book. Look no further. Because I just kept bypassing that book. I was looking for other books, but I was like, that book is just screaming my name all over it. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and get that book. And I did. Thankfully, I did. And so, in the back of the book here, Joyce Meyer, she says, God has a will and purpose for each of us, and his desire is that we use our free will to choose his will so we can enjoy the best life possible. She's like, I hope and pray that as you read this book, you will learn to seize the day and start making the moments you have count toward fulfilling your potential. Joyce Meyer. That's your introduction of the book. So literally when I read this book, I was like, wow, this is amazing. This is definitely what I need to hear. Basically, this book had really just drawn so much attention to me because of the fact that I'm really trying to fulfill my purpose. You know, starting my YouTube channel, and also just living on purpose for God, and just serving God, and to be led by God and his will for my life. This all came about because, not only just because of this book, but I made that decision of last year that I was going to commit myself over to God and surrender to God, to let God lead my life and to guide me and direct me in my daily walk. And so I was very, you know, very, very strong opinionated about that. And I was like, you know what, God, I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure that I'm being led by you, regardless of whether that means, you know, cutting off relationships, cutting off friendships, do whatever I have to do to submit over to you, God, I will do that. And thankfully, I have wonderful friends who support me so much in what I'm doing right now, and family as well, who are so by my side and supporting everything that I'm doing. So I'm so grateful for all of you guys for that. And so this is what I'm doing. And so reading this book has given me so much knowledge, so much spiritual knowledge, so much growth, so much strength, so much patience, guys. I am definitely not a person of patience. I've never been. But I kid you not, by reading this book has given me so much growth in the inside of me that it's really been shown on the outside. Like, I was talking to my girlfriend the other day, and she was telling me, she's like, wow, I just see so much happiness inside of you that I've never seen before. And I was like, you know, it's because I really prayed about my purpose and what God wants me to do for my life. And I really do feel that he has me where I am for a reason, and that if anything, or even if the past were to come back to interfere with that, I would cut it off in a heartbeat. Like, because I feel that God has me where I am, and I'm so happy that I don't want to go backwards. I want to continue to live out God's purpose for me. And I felt that, you know, this was the book that I gained so much of that knowledge from. Alright, and so we're going to move on into, I'm just going to read from her book. I'm not going to read this whole book to you guys, but I kind of wanted to read something to you guys about God's will for your life, which is living on purpose. And so, which is basically the whole point of the reason why I'm sharing this book with you guys, because I was really, when I was drawn to this book, I was more drawn to the fact that she was talking about living on purpose and making every day of your life count. Seizing the day, seizing your time, seizing what you're doing with your life right now, and making each day count and to be fulfilled with God and God alone. And so this book really drew me to that. And so I want to read chapter 2. Chapter 2 was probably one of my favorite chapters because it spoke on so many things about God's will for your life, which is, you know, the reason why I got this book is because living on purpose for God, for God's will for my life. And so chapter 2, it's called God's will for your life. And so it says, I delight to your will, oh my God, yes, your law is within my heart, which is Psalms 48. David has said that he was delighted to do God's will, and most of us would say the same thing. We are willing to do the will of God, but we may not always be sure what his will is for us. And so, again, that's where I was drawn to this, because when I got this book and I read that, the beginning of this chapter, that's what drawn me, because I was like, I don't know what my will is for me, and I want to know where God's trying to take me. What is my purpose? And so this is the reason why I chose to get this book, because I was very, very wanting to know what is my will and what is my purpose for God. And so moving forward, it says, what is God's will for my life? Question mark in parentheses. It says, if we don't know the will of God, it may be that we are asking the wrong questions, which is so true. Going forward, it says, we may seek answers from God about what our career should be, where we should work, whom we should marry, if we should purchase the new car we want, if we should buy or sell a house, if we should make a commitment to volunteer at church, or perhaps become a missionary. Those questions are in regard to our circumstances in life, and they are not wrong questions to ask, but they aren't the first or most important questions to ask. Jesus told us what to ask or seek in Matthew 6:33. And so in Matthew 6:33 it says, but seek, aim at, and strive after first of all his kingdom and his righteousness, his way of doing and being right, and then all these things taken together will be given to you besides. God, guys, how amazing is that? Like, I was just like, yes, this is why I needed this book. And because of that, of chapter 2, and because that being in this book, I kid you not, I felt that this was calling on to me, because I needed to hear that. I needed to know, you know, what I'm asking of God. You know, I'm asking God for the wrong things. I need to be not seeking God for the things that I want in my life, but seeking God's will for my life, his purpose for my life. So basically, again, when I talk about, you know, you finding out what your purpose is, it's not about the purpose that you intend to have for your life. It's the purpose that God has already set aside for you, but you must submit to him, and you must ask him in prayer, God, what is your purpose for me? God, give me the gifts. God, show me the gifts that you've given to me in my heart, and how can I use those gifts to, you know, to my advantage, or how can I use those gifts to serve you, God? You know, all those things you have to consider when you're asking God for your will. It needs to be pure. It needs to be true to your heart, and asking God, God, please show me those hidden gifts, or those gifts that you have provided for me, because all of us, we all are humans, and we all have individual gifts. God has given us all many gifts, and sometimes we may not even know how to use our gifts that God has provided us. So when you ask God in prayer, God, show me how to use my gifts. God, show me the talents, those abilities that you've given me. How can I show works to that? How can I use my gifts to show people this is what I love to do? You know, all those things you got to ask God. You have to be willing to pray about your purpose, and also just to ask God for, you know, his will for you. The chapter 6 that I mentioned, which is ways to avoid wasting your time. So in this book also, she talks about seizing the day and making every day of your life count, not wasting time, using your time wisely. Before you hit your 30s or your 40s or your 50s or your 60s, using the time while you're young now while you're young, you're active, you have the ability, you have the mobility to do the things that you love to do, and not to waste time, so that when you hit your 30s, your 40s, or your 50s, or your 60s, it's like it's not too late, but it's that you wasted a lot of your youthful time while you were young to be able to do the things that you love. And it's like, why are you now doing it later? And so that's what's important too, guys, that she talks about in this book, is about, you know, seizing your day, making each day of your life count, making sure your time is used wisely, and you're managing your time wisely to not only serve God, but also just so that you won't waste a lot of your youthful time. And so chapter 6, which talks about ways to avoid wasting time. So she says, make the very most of the time, which is Ephesians 5:16. It says, making the very most of the time, buying up each opportunity because the days are evil, which is so true. Like I said, these days now that we're living, our time is like very precious. Like our time is very valuable right now. The time frame that we're in right now is the best time to get it together. Like, you don't know when God is coming. So guys, you have to be prepared. Like, these days are not getting better. They're not getting greater. You know, you've got to use your time wisely, and you've got to be willing to commit and submit to God. Because guys, you know, it's just, you know, I don't want to say that, you know, I don't want to scare people, and I'm not going to bullcrap on camera, but guys, use your time wisely. Seek God, because you just never know when it's time to go. So in chapter 6, so it says, she talks about, she's like, I doubt that you want to waste your time. She's like, in parentheses, says, I know I don't want to waste mine. She said, and yet we all do to some degree. She said, so let's take a look at some of the ways it happens. So 1, when you complain a lot about your busy schedule, that is a good sign that you need to make some changes to it. Chapter 2, we cannot do everything and do anything well. 3, she says, what do you let hijack your time? Good question. Distractions, you know, relationships, friendships. What is hijacking your time? 4, are you just busy or are you productive? 5, are you able to stay focused on what you really want to do? Chapter 6, do you spend more time talking about the things you need to get done than actually spend time doing them? Fiction, because I'm guilty of that too. So chapter 7, do you buy time by getting less sleep and then lose time because you're tired? 8, how often do you make mistakes because you were in a hurry? 9, it says, how often do you have to repair something because you didn't want to spend the money to do it right to begin with? And 10, do you deal with little problems in order to prevent them from becoming big problems? So it says, in order to make the most of the time God has given us, let's look at some of these things a little more closely. So she talks about complaining. She talks about priorities. She talks about don't major in minors, time hijackers, methods of buying time, be frugal but not foolish, dealing with small things, going on and on and on about ways of not wasting your time and ways to avoid wasting your precious time that God has given you on this earth, guys. Again, I really just wanted to do a short review on this book. I can go on and on and on and talk about this book, but guys, it's at your Barnes & Nobles, your local Barnes & Nobles, so I really do feel that you guys should definitely pick this book up. I love it. It's given me so much knowledge, spiritual growth, and I just really do recommend this to anybody that's really trying to figure out what their purpose is, and also just trying to you know, find their way in life right now. Because, you know, guys, you know, again, do not waste your time. Do not waste your time. Your time is precious on this earth, as each and every day that you get on this earth is another day to get up and make things happen. So don't waste your time. Get up and get active. Get up and get in the book. Get up and read the word. Get up and pray. Most of all, number one thing. I just recommend this to anybody who's really just trying to grow and really just trying to figure out their purpose in life, and also trying to seek God of all things. I really do hope you guys enjoyed this short video. Again, this book, I actually just opened it and it shows here that it was $24. So I got this book for half price, and I love that I was able to pick this book up because it has provided me with so much knowledge. And I really do hope you guys enjoyed this video about living your life on purpose, God's purpose for your life, and making each day count. I really do hope you guys check out this book, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. Thank you.